Meeting is being recorded.
Just want to let you know that this is all for entertainment value and there is no facts here, obviously. Thank you very much.
No. I hope you're all being entertained.
I'm having a laugh. I'm entertained already.
Sorry, Ron, you can cut.
You've only got to hang out with Andy.
Tell us.
You've only got to hang out with Andy for a little bit and you're entertained. Trust me.
Hey, but you're always fed well with it, mate. You're always fed well with it.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
So we're wondering too whether these frequency ones do they have to be the size of Doppler radars?
No, he was using some. I can't. Now that we're recording this, so I won't go into too much detail. But he wasn't using his own equipment. He was sending the information via his laptop, but to existing facilities, and that's about all as I can share.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I've seen them. They're like mini harps. They're like a mini harp. I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of them. There's just like a small harp system.
Yeah, well, he wasn't letting on where it was, what he was using, but I did see, he showed me an email about 2 days. He said, I'm sending this to the New South Wales Fire Brigade because they're around the fires in Sydney at the time. They were fighting fires. And he sent the email to the CFO, the Chief Fire Officer of that fire, and to the government. And he said he's going to downgrade the fire. They were expecting 36-degree weather, and it was going to be a horror day for the firemen. And anyway, he deployed on the Friday night, and Saturday the firemen were playing cricket on the roads because he downgraded it to about 24 degrees.
Yep.
And he told them that he'd bring it into the low 20s. So, and even then, see, the government bodies were trying to destroy even then all these properties and farms and systems, and they didn't want to have this. I mean, they were probably creating the fire on one hand, and David was offering to reduce the temperatures for the firemen. And anyway, he got frustrated and left the country, you know.
Yeah, that's what they do, though. They do create the fire. They create the problem and give you the solution after.
Yeah. Well, that's what Gates did, isn't it?
Yep.
With
viruses.
Yeah, with viruses. Gates produced a computer that was susceptible to viruses, not like the Macs, and then he'd sell the viruses. I mean, you know, he's doing the same thing now with everything else.
He's still doing the same thing, correct?
Yeah. Sorry I was late, big guys. We got back from town late, and then we ran out of gas bottles, so I had to change gas bottles. Then Michelle wasn't feeling, she was a bit tired because she did all the work today, and I had to go do the animals, and I put dinner in the oven. What else have I done?
Everything.
Anyway,
we can also bring
Michelle
temperatures with these machines.
What's that, Chris?
We can also decrease the weather, the temperature with these devices. There's a way we point it up into the sky and we go across, and then we drop it and go back across, drop it again, bring it back across. But we're going into the heat signature. I'll get it up. This is the heat signature which are being used to create the heat. Which one is it? I lost it. This one. This stuff here. They create this stuff here, and you can see we actually opened it up in the northwest for this lot to come down, and this is all that's left of the low, the second low. This is nothing there, but it's still able to still create the spinning effect and bring it down. So they've actually closed that off now.
Is the orange the cooler and the red the hotter?
No, the
Yellow's the hottest.
Yeah, yellow's the
hottest.
They're doing something down.
Most of it comes out of Exmouth.
Yeah.
Exmouth is
a base up there, a Royal Air Force base or a RAA base, sorry?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a couple of there's one here, there's one up here, and there's another one right up here.
Exmouth is probably the biggest installation.
Which is here.
I thought there was about 6 in a line of the HARP installations, about 6 of them in a line across West Australia. But It could
Well,
be
you're not
something
talking about
different.
the Doppler towers that are
Oh,
all
it could be.
set up in a defence position so nothing comes up from the southwest into Western Australia like it used to come up southwest, hit South Australia and go across to
Yep.
Victoria and New South Wales. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No Doppler towers, those
Yeah.
black ones down the bottom. Got them set
Oh,
up.
okay.
to
Oh,
align
yeah,
with
that's the
defence.
one. That's the one I was looking at. Yeah. So,
Don't you really
Yeah,
need
my-
12 of those things in Australia to have good coverage, not 57 or 58 like they've
Really,
got.
just explain what a Doppler tower is for people that don't know. Did you say Doppler tower?
Doppler.
Okay, I don't know the word, but what is it?
Chris, you want to explain it?
Yeah, it's like a weather radar. They say that it's to help with the weather to see where the patterns are coming from. But as you can see down here, a lot of the fronts that come through, which are attached to cyclones, come through here and disappear. Where our north weather comes from the west and goes to the east. So they're able to turn these things on and off as they will. Like what came through here the other day, they just let it come through. And then it created that, as you can see, this mass down here.
Anyone remember 2016? 2016, most of the Doppler towers were off for that year. And they weaponised them and turned them back on in 2017.
Also, with the Doppler effect,
Right.
I can probably help us understand it from an audio point of view, and that is that the car that comes towards us makes the sound, and then it goes past us and it goes at a lower frequency.
Yeah.
And that's the Doppler affected audio frequencies that we can hear.
Hmm.
They all need blowing up.
We've got
Agree with that?
Hi, Glenn.
Well, we got.
somewhere here. Someone pumped me out the other day.
Good to see you guys again.
Oh yeah, thank you very much for coming over and visiting. That was beautiful, mate. Big throw for you there to come up this far, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good test for Michelle. She handled it well, and we enjoyed the boat trip back. Luckily, we had a very calm waters on the way back and up, but the whole week, it was a lot of running around, and Michelle pulled through it really well. So
That was a test.
that was a big test for her. So plus, we had a really great time with these crazy people up there just outside of Horsham.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you what, they're strange people. But,
they food and give you a bed. I don't know what that's about.
I'm trying to
No,
make 4 more at the moment. They're only 500 mil long.
yeah,
Much luck with getting
I hadn't been to too many places where I was offered a toddy after 1 o'clock in the morning, and then another one, and then another one.
The conversation was that good. It didn't want to end, to be honest. That's where we were at.
Yeah. Oh, you're quite annoying, you guys. I was trying to get the workshop together the night before, and you guys were all sitting around and wanted to talk. And it was good. It was good.
I wonder whether
we really.
whether we can do that workshop over Zooms in the future.
Oh, we've started. Our Wednesday night now we're going through based on different subjects, and we've had people. We've got 4 or 5 people from West Australia. We've got people from Queensland, New South Wales, all over Australia now on the Wednesday night, and we're just going over subjects rather than what we did at your place, your workshop. We hit on a number of subjects and skimmed over it in the one day.
My thought is that we sort of produce the training books and let people read them for a couple of weeks, and then go to a quick introduction, a question and answer, and a review and a sort of overview of what it's about.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because then they've already read the information. They may not have comprehended it, but then the question and answers will bring out a lot more. And you do that for the first half of the equation of people that have got questions, and then you run through it, reasonably quickly, because you've already read it. So you're just skipping over it, and then clarifying on the points that people are missing.
Andy,
Yeah.
maybe listen in on Wednesday, because Wednesday's night was really good.
Yeah, I don't mind when it is. I mean, as long as the people that want to attend can do that, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
good.
if our meeting is set at the right time. I don't know whether people are finding it too early or too late. You know, speak to me. Is it not often enough? You know, is it the wrong night? You know, you're all here now, so, you know, put your hands up. Is Friday at this time good? Are you talking, Nadia?
No, Friday night's horrible.
Oh, is that
Anyway,
Friday night's
go on.
horrible?
Horrible.
Why is
It's
Friday
okay.
night horrible? Nadia, take your microphone off so we can hear you. And now you took the cow poo off your face, you look a lot better.
Also, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to JC about tea. Sorry.
That's all right. So is Friday night, is that a bad night? Is Wednesday night better? Do we just drop in with Ron's meetings on a Wednesday? If we want to learn what he sort of gave us, you know, further information, what he gave us on the seminar down at Ararat.
We can do either or. Suits me overnight. Oh, actually, probably suits me better Friday nights.
Sorry, which night suits you?
Friday night, probably.
Marie?
You guys cover different material than on the Friday night than what we do on our Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
No,
Because like we don't talk about weather modification or other stuff. You've got quite a few switched on people in your group, Andy, that, you know, I'm really interested in a lot of stuff. You know, and it was only when we went out for dinner that night that, you know, you guys talk about Crown and we talk about sovereignty, but we figured out that night over dinner that we're talking about the same thing, just got a different name on it.
Well,
it was really
about it as Crown because in legislation, it within the first 4 paragraphs of most legislation, it relates to Crown. It speaks about Crown.
Yeah.
And it says Crown cannot be prosecuted. Well, if there's no Queen in Australia, which it hasn't been since '73, the only Crowns they're going to be talking about is us.
Yeah.
But that's our sort of thinking.
Yeah. So this is another take. Also, Wednesday night we had a few people from Victoria that were not that haven't come in through your group. But we've wanted to touch base. We were trying to connect these other people from Victoria to your people so they can get together. Like I couldn't think of the name of that couple that was from Gippsland. Andy,
Mark and Valerie, they're here now.
Mark and Valerie.
Hi, Ron.
Yeah, there was 2 couples on our Wednesday night room. They're from Gippsland, and they said they haven't found anybody that is awake that they can really get on with. And I said, well, there was a couple in your group. I said, we'll try to hook you guys up and you know, start your own group in Gippsland. You know, start teaching people there.
Keen for that, Ron.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're keen for that. We're happy to meet up with people. We'll work with people. So hook us
Yeah,
up.
so
That's all good.
Whereabouts are you?
West Gippsland.
West Gippsland. Where? Not Traralgon. You'd be
Near
up-
Warragul and Truan.
Yeah, Ron, you met Mark and Valerie at the seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the couple you're talking about, I think.
Yeah. But the couple, are you at Orbost or you like Traralgon area?
No, closer to Melbourne. Closer to Melbourne.
In Melbourne. Close
No,
to Melbourne.
closer to Melbourne.
Yeah, but we can touch base.
We can touch base with these people. That's all good.
Yeah, I'll have to look up their names and get you guys together. So I don't know how close you are, but
We'll get together. And also, we've got some issues that we want to follow up with you with. We've got another couple that want to do a trust. And so there's just a few things that we want to do. So that's all good.
yeah. Well, we're being accredited by 2 different people, 2 different groups that do trusts and foundations, and then I'm going to pick the best out of it and then go with their paperwork that's tried and proven. So one of them involves a 5 or 6 week course, and another one involves about 3 weeks course. So when we finish that, we're going to compare the paperwork because with trust documents, everything is based on the trust deed, and same with foundations. The articles of the foundation, is very important what's in them, because lawyers, if they're trying to get your property or get anything, your income stream, they will find a way of cracking if you haven't worded everything. There was a guy in the course last night, Tuesday night, sorry, going over their trust documents, and I noticed in the trust documents, and so did Martina, that they still had a word in there relating to persons. And she raised it. I'm sort of stepping away from that system because it had too many flaws in it. So we're wanting to put the best of the best together, and Mark's authorised us to do trust down here, but we just wanted to also look at some other groups that might be doing it slightly different, but Mark's is the one's been tried and proven. So
and we have one of Mark's trusts as well.
Yeah. So we want to make sure if we're doing them that they're going to hold up in courts and everything else. So yeah, but the point is, the enemy tries to divide us and separate us, and raise all the things that's different between us. But that's actually the good thing that's keeping us together, is the differences between us as groups, because we all bring our specialties to the table, and it's more and more pieces of the puzzle that we can put together, and it's none of us should be. Yes.
Question. In our position where we've got a foundation, but we're dealing with Joe Bloggs on the street, would we be safer with a PMA than a foundation?
Safer with what? Sorry, there was just some noise.
No, it's all right. In our position where we're set up as a foundation at the moment, but we're dealing with the public, would we be safer to have ourselves a PMA where they pay 50 cents to be a member?
Yes. Look, my research is, and because I've been helping people that only had a PMA and not a trust, I'm of the opinion now, and so are the others that's working with me on this, is that if you've got a customer base that continually works with you, not a one-off necessarily, but people that are doing a lot of business with you, it's best to have them in a PMA, and then your business runs under a trust. But then what happens is the PMA group are also listed in the trust documents as beneficiaries. So your customers for 50 cents, or actually $1 is what is the minimum. For $1, they become members, which is good marketing for your business, because you've got the same customers coming back all the time. You're probably giving them a bit of a deal for coming back. And also then they have got the extra layer of purchasing stuff through you or being in business with you inside a trust as well. And which is the best structure. We've had to help some people that had a PMA done for them, but the business was still registered, had a ABN. And the problem was the police, during the mask and the vaccine and the shutdown thing, the police were coming in based on the fact that the business was still an ABN. So I said, you need to have not even just a trust, you need to have a private trust. All the words in there needs to be something that does not relate to any tax laws or anything in the public or anything associated with the name.
Yeah. So in my case, where we're trying to set this up, would we better have a PMA for our returning customers, keep the foundation as the sustenance for myself and Tanya, the beneficiaries, and then stick the trust at the top, which is run by the trustees, which could be Tanya and I?
Yes. Now your foundation, when we looked at your document, it's only got the 4 pages in it. It does need to stand up in court or for the banks.
No, that was a trust document I showed you. It wasn't the article of foundation.
Oh, that was a trust.
Yeah, that was a trust. You know, articles of foundation. I don't know how many pages. It's Tanya. How many pages is the articles?
Lots.
20, 25.
Yeah, it'd be something like that, I think. I can have a look.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
No,
There are clauses.
we,
There are
we
clauses.
had that, yeah, we had that through Jason Strong, so I'm quite positive that that's a good scenario. But we're now hearing
Okay.
a lot more about the fact that PMA works better because most of the enemy run PMAs to protect themselves, but a PMA can take a PMA to court.
Yes. Well, what we noticed is that the system out there, the criminal system, they play God and they say, well, we recognize that PMA, but we're not going to recognize yours. So, and then it's an argument. So, but if it's inside another trust, and it's easy to do, Andy, if you set up the PMA, your clients just pay the dollar to become part of the membership. And all you've got to do is do an addendum in your trust document, which is just another page through a meeting. You have a meeting with everybody that's part of the trust, and you do an addendum, and you just vote that you'll add this addendum to the trust document, that the PMA group now will become a beneficiary of the trust.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do. You don't have to touch the trust at all, except for doing an addendum.
So you can do it, and you can do it on a PMI meeting with your members.
Yeah. And the PMA group have to vote that they want to become part of the beneficiary in the trust. And then the trust members have to vote that they're going to allow the PMA group in as a beneficiary.
And that
it can be a third
benefit, Ron. That benefit could be like a 10% discount.
Yeah, or any sort of discount, because now you've got,
so basically you just raise your prices by 10%, and anybody that's a PMA member gets it at the normal price. I'm business mind here. Sorry.
Andy,
yeah, no, Tanya, I think we'll deal with you on this one.
Andy, for your non-returning customers, you can actually have them as a guest member briefly.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that way they have to come in under that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they do so much volume of sales or whatever, then you can invite them in as permanent members or whatever. That the PMA group will vote on that, but each group has got to vote to become a part of the other one and allow the other one to come in. So, but you do that just with paperwork, and it's all in the private, so nothing gets registered in the public. And what you do, the reason why you do that as an addendum, Andy, is because if you go set up in a bank account somewhere or anything in the public wants to see your trust document, then all you bring along is the main document, which doesn't disclose who the beneficiaries are, and it doesn't go into any detail of properties or assets or anything else.
Yeah.
So you just bring the basic one across, because in a court, if you're representing the trust, say as a business, and you're the trustee of that business, then and the magistrate wants to see evidence that it's that it is a trust, well then you can agree to that, but only in his chambers. You're not allowed to bring the private trusts into the public court. Yeah. That's one of their tricks, is they'll get you, once you've put that private trust into the court, then it's just negated everything that's on that trust document that's kept it in the private.
Yeah. Yeah. So you basically, at the point, you can show the trust deed and that's it. And then if they want to go any more, you say, I'm sorry, Your Honour, this needs to be in the private. This private trust. And until we're in the private, either in your chambers or the courtroom is cleared, so it's just you and us, there's no further documents going to be shown to you because it's a private trust.
Yeah, and then you can explain to the magistrate when you're in private chambers, you can say, you see, Your Honour, there's the PMA group, it's a beneficiary of the trust, you can't touch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, good stuff. Rugen's joined us. Hello, Rugen. Have you got video or not? We want to see.
No video, but I'm here, listening.
Maybe he doesn't have any clothes on, Danny. Got to watch it.
Oh, that's a thought. That is a thought. Yeah. I mean, he works at home, so boxer shorts and a vest top might be all we got.
You don't want to see me naked anyway.
Oh,
Any questions out there? Frank, you've got plenty of questions normally. Come on, throw one
I
up.
got a few questions, but I don't know if they're going to make sense or not. I got a PMA, and I also got I got 2 trusts. How do I get the trust, my property, into the trust and have it recognized by the lands department?
no, the property is what's registered with the lands department. All
Yep.
you've got to do the same thing as what we do with the PMA group. You simply hold a meeting and say that the property was purchased. Now, this is the thing: when you purchase the property, you've got to purchase it with the trust, and you are the trustee. But if you already own the property and you want to put it in a trust, right, you can do that, but you've got to send a document off to the lands department to say that the trust is buying it. Now, the safeguard there is I would do that through a lawyer. All you do is show the lawyer the trust, and then the lawyer can sign off in their system to say he's seen the trust documents, and the trust owns is in existence, and then all they do is make an amendment on the title that the trust owns it, not you. Now, if there's paperwork you can do to avoid the stamp duty, if you can show that the ownership goes from Frank in the private to Frank as trustee, and you're still the controlling agent, but just a different title, then if you word it properly, then you avoid having to pay stamp duty again on the transfer of title.
Okay, where can I find it? Where can I find the information on it? Or yeah,
look, the information, Weiss's book on trusts, it's a little document that was put out about 100 years ago, and everybody still goes on it because it's trusts in the private. Okay, that's the book of trusts. It's like that's the Bible for trusts.
Okay.
And that's what we and every other living man or woman, when they do private trusts, we rely on that for the law and to make sure it qualifies. So, but we were discussing this just the other night. It's wise if you have a trust first and then buy property or your assets in the trust name. And then all you do is do some paperwork and add the property to the trust as one of its assets. But if you've already got your property and you want to start up a new trust and put it in there, you have to get the system to recognize the property now has got a new owner. And the safest way to do that, rather than sending your private trust documents to the Lands Titles Department, okay, is to show your trusted lawyer, and then he just signs off to say he's seen the trust deed and it exists.
Okay.
Running around.
Yeah, because I've got some meat from you.
Oh, hang on, Andy. I have to
We have to get in
mute.
touch with the lawyer again.
Oh, is that mute?
Just hit the mark.
So,
Yeah.
what are we doing, Andy? Oh, he's gone, the puppy.
It's gone for
No, no.
Yeah, he's feeding the dog. It's better to be unmuted then. Carry on.
Are we finished?
Oh,
I think.
missed it.
Ron, I have a question. If you're in chambers, is it safe to say that it's not necessarily just easy going? You still have to obviously respect the judge and stay in on good behavior and everything, right?
Yeah, no, in chambers, look, when I became a justice of the peace back when I had my home loans business, and I had to go in chambers to the, I think it was the Supreme Court, and to be sworn in. And back there, they're just dealing with you as a man. They're a man. You don't even have to call them Your Honour or Sir. You know, you can refer to them in their personal name. They're just it's only when they step into that shipping dry dock, the courtroom, then they're in maritime law. But back in their chambers, they're in their private capacity. So it's a safe zone. You're okay. It's, they might they might check you for like security. You'll have to go through security and stuff, but you set up the appointment with the registrar, and you ask for the registrar to say to the registrar you want to have a chat with a judge or a magistrate in chambers for anything like that. And it means you're not in the public. You're still in his private capacity, so there's no stress in there.
When you
and
say
everything's said
anything like that, Ron, sorry, I missed a little bit because I had to feed the dogs, close the door, put the light on. Sorry, can you just back a little bit? When what matters are we talking about?
If you've already bought your land and you set up a trust and you want to get the trust, the land put in the trust's name, so now the trust is the owner. Well, I'm just going back 2 comments now. It's safe. You don't send your trust documents that are in the private, you don't send them to the lands. What you do is you go to your lawyer and you get the lawyer to view the title of the trust deed, and then he can do as a lawyer, he's like same thing with accountants to the tax department. The lawyer can simply notify the court or the land's title that they have viewed the trust deed and it exists. That's all he has to do, is to confirm that it exists. Okay. Now the second point was that if you have anything, like if a magistrate wants to see or a judge wants to see your title, the deed of the trust, you don't show it in the public court because then you've just made it a public document, and then they'll have access to everything. If they want to see the trust deed to see if it exists, you say, Your Honour, I'm happy to do that, but it'll have to be in chambers because it is a private trust. And they honour that. And then they'll set up a time for you to go into chambers and simply show them the trust. But even then, like I said before, all the particulars of all the assets that are in the trust, you need to put them not in the trust deed or the trust documents. You need to put them as separate addendums, and you don't bring them into court. All they want to see is that the trust exists. You don't want to bring into a judge's chambers all your list of all your beneficiaries and all your assets and everything else. It's none of their business. You want to keep
addendums. Just my understanding, the addendums are the meetings you have with the trustees afterwards to decide who's beneficiaries and what is going into the trust.
Yeah. No, anything you want to add to the trust deed after the trust deed's been done, that's called an addendum. So you just title it an addendum. We've had a majority we've had a quorum of members in the trust attend, and we've all decided, here are the names, we've decided to do this, purchase this property and put it in the name of the trust, buy this car, put it in the name of the trust. You don't have to even list what type of car or number plates or anything. Just, a 2010 Triton, that's all you got to put there. You don't have to put any other identifications. Okay, because even if you put a license plate down on that, that's part of the public. You've just smashed the privacy thing of the document.
Same as a VIN number. Or, so you don't do that.
No, you've got your trust deed that you can show somebody in their private capacity, and then you've got the ownership of everything the trust owns on different documents, and that never leaves your house. You don't show anybody that.
Beautiful.
Unless like if you bring your PMA in as a beneficiary in your trust, and there's an issue with the PMA, perhaps the police were trying to get some of your customers to wear a mask, and in the PMA thing it says that we're under the Commonwealth jurisdiction, therefore the masks don't apply to us. and then you can say, well, the PMA is also part of this private trust, which excludes you from your jurisdiction. Now that'll trump the PMA articles when they're members of a trust. Now the magistrate might want to see, well, I want to see the PMA on the documentation of the trust, and so you do that in chambers, okay, just to prove that it exists, that they're listed there. The PMA is part of the beneficiaries of the trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then the trust documents will clearly say that its jurisdiction is Commonwealth law, and it is supreme and is superior over state law and any state mandates. That's one of the lines you've got to have in the trust these days, because they've started using mandates to get around the law. It's like, to get around the referendums, they've called them plebiscites, but there's a big difference between a referendum and a plebiscite.
Oh yeah.
A plebiscite, governments don't have to do anything that people say in a plebiscite, but if there's a referendum, that automatically becomes law. So they've stopped using referendums and gone to plebiscites. So now our documents have got to list plebiscites, you know.
And they're illegal.
And they're what, sorry, Chris?
The plebiscite's illegal.
Oh well, it's just a view of people. It's not something anything should be took from. It's yeah. You say it's illegal. It's just a view. It's like a what do you think to this?
The news channels with a yes and no for us. It's like they're picking all their views from a news channel.
Yeah.
Yes or no.
Well, I think most of the people on the screen here would agree that anything that you normally see on the television, other than this one you might be looking at now, would be just telling you lies anyway. Although this is obviously for entertainment value.
The amount of people I've asked now, do they remember what a referendum is? They have no idea.
Well, we had on councils, didn't we? We had 3 referendums on councils. All of them were negative, and they still brought it in anyway.
The last one
go back to a
GST.
Yeah,
the last one was before the GST, and that was 1999.
Yep.
But that was a referendum, was it not?
It was a negative referendum, so the people voted again.
Yeah, none of them were successful. In the 88 referendum, I think it was 43% of the public were for it, and so it was still knocked back, and that was only in New South Wales and none of the other states. So all 3 referendums, they knocked back the fact of council becoming the 3rd level of government.
So by rights, they should. Sorry, my apologies. By rights, the governments, whatever they are, they should abide by the will of the people, according to the referendum.
Yeah, but that's what that was John Howard on the last one.
Yep.
Because the 1999 referendum was mainly about the GST, and in that deal, that when they brought the conformity of the states into the federal, the deal was that the states could no longer charge any taxes, and it was all federal now with the GST. So this is why since 1999, or the 2000 GST laws, councils are not allowed to charge a tax, which is land rates. And it is a tax because the tax department has established in the GST laws that rates are not taxable because they're already a tax. So the tax department has already stated that rates are a tax.
I'll just ask you, anybody, just get your controllers going. Who is paying tax, their wages at the moment in this room of 18, is it 18, 14 people? Who's paying tax? Has someone got a hand up there? I can see Glenn's got a hand up. Tanya's got a hand down. Oh, Marie's got a hand up. I stopped paying tax in 2018. I asked some very simple questions. I sent 3 letters to the tax office. I got a full name from the tax office, and I held her to account with a what do you call it, a fee schedule. If they were going to send me further letters, then this is what it was going to cost them. And now they send me a text saying, we haven't got your address. Can you please contact us to fill in your tax return? And I get one of those a year. And that's it. They don't even bother sending me a letter. They never send me a letter, nothing. If you're an employee, I believe that's a bit more difficult. But in my position, I found it very easy. Who pays council tax in the room?
Yeah, I still do, but I won't be paying much more.
Put your screen up or put your hand up. Who's paying council tax? Neil, you're paying council tax. Mick, paying council tax. Why are you paying council tax? Is unlawful. They tried to take me to court. I can give you the paperwork I used, the questions I answered, and they walked away and they said it was going to go to mediation. That was 3 years ago. They still send me a bill. I still send them a bill for looking after my nature reserve. But nothing goes of it. You know, I've got the letters there from 3 years ago that they've never took it to mediation. So why are you paying council tax? You don't need to. Who's paying water rates?
The state house.
Is anybody paying water rates? Is anybody paying for water? You're paying for water. Water comes from the sky. Why are you paying for it? They don't cut you off. You just stop paying them. You send the letters back. You say, sorry, you know, this is not addressed correctly. Please address correctly. And they just don't even bother with you. Electric, I haven't done yet, but a few people have in the room. Just even if anybody wants to try and comprehend, there is no money in this system. So everything can be offset or accepted with value. I mean, we've gone through an accepted value with Mark and Valerie, who seem to have dropped out again. Mark and Valerie gone? They've given us an accepted value, which they do with an affidavit.
Yeah.
Signed.
Andy, 1 minute. I've got him on the phone. Let me just see.
Oh, okay.
Mark. Okay, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to, or you're going to be able to hear them. The speaker might work though.
Yeah, we can hear most of it now,
Oh,
but we
beautiful.
can't get on.
Mark and Valerie are with us, but not with us, if you know what I mean. So they're still here. So Mark and Valerie have already talked us through acceptance of value, which they do with an affidavit and have been doing for electric. Is that correct? For council tax?
Electric, for about 3 years now.
Is that electric and council tax and water, or?
No, we don't have council tax, so.
You don't have council tax. Well, neither does Ron, because he was very clever in the way he set it up.
Yeah, anyway. Down the track, maybe. No, the only thing I had with the council tax is we have been told that the high, which court was that? Federal court ruled that councils may sell up people for not paying their rates without notifying them. That's ex parte, so they just can sell your property after 3 years of no rates. Now, I haven't seen the proof of that, but it came from a reliable source. But
it was Brian Shaw, wasn't it? Was that Brian Shaw?
That's happened in Witchy, so it is true.
Okay, so Brian Shaw covered that one with saying pay it with a promissory note.
Yeah, that's right.
Fully open on the internet. Everybody can learn how to do a promissory note just by doing a matter of probably 4 or 5 hours research, and then backing it off with a few people. So you go, okay, is this what a promissory note is? If you go and search Michael Tillinger, who in South Africa cleared, I think it was about 700,000 rupees of debt, and has published it all over YouTube. And there's so many YouTube videos about it. All you've got to do is relate it to the Bills of Exchange 1909, which is Australian Bills of Exchange. And you can also check it back against the Imperial Bills of Exchange 1895, I think it is, but I'm not going to swear on that one.
And in New Zealand, it's Bills of Exchange 1908. It was a year before. The year before Australia, the rest of us.
But again, the Tasman Australian agreement means you can use any of their laws anyway, and they have far more laws than we do, because all the laws start at the start of the sunset. That's why the Rothschilds bought the bay with the first sunset in the world in New Zealand.
There's one more thing to add to that, or two. Do an affidavit with your promissory note, and also do certified copies of everything and a letter to John Gamble of Equifax, and record your discharge.
Which is a Zoom we should do again, because I'm going to record them and stick them on my private YouTube for anybody on Wimmera Law. So I've worked out how I'm going to show you guys what we do and keep it private in our entertainment value. So there's already links. There's already links on Wimmera Law for the last 2 meetings I recorded, and this one will be on there as well. So I'm just going to drop it onto my YouTube channel on private, links only. So the links will be dropped onto the Wimmera Law Guide so that you can watch these again anytime you want. And it just stops it.
Anytime you wait for the promissory note, you always let Equifax know, because even though our bill does still show $7,000, we only pay the new charges. They have never been able to strike us or turn our electricity off.
Good on you.
And we also have received an email when things must have changed around the world in end of April, and we got a email from Equifax stating they had recorded our our payment. They said payment.
I spoke to
payment. So they have acknowledged that we've paid.
I spoke to a friend of mine the other day, Dispinia, who I've been in touch with since Divine Sovereignty. She actually did Design Sovereignty with me. So she's been the maths teacher for my daughter for the last 4 years. She's a maths teacher in New South Wales. She changed properties. When she changed properties, she took no contracts with the electricity, the water board, the water board, the electricity, or the council. She took no contracts with any of them. She put padlocks on all the meters, her own padlocks, and she hasn't paid water rates, electric, or council in the last 3 years since she moved properties, because she didn't start a contract. So that's an interesting point. I found that quite interesting yesterday when I spoke to her.
Yeah,
And I wonder
the councils are real sneaky on how they get you to contract with them. They're doing everything that's illegal for the state government to do. The reason being is the state government is straight elected members, whereas in the council, half the council is elected members under the general manager, but then the real rule of authority from them comes from the CEO, which is directly hired under the United Nations to run that as a business to make profits. And so if you do a search, you'll find that your council documents being sent to you won't show an ABN, because in actual fact, there should be 2 ABNs on there, one from the general manager and one for the CEO. But that's why they can't have 2, because people need to know which trading entity they're dealing with. So I've done a document to our council. They wanted to see why we have a shack on the property without their permission. So I did a lovely 3-page document to them. We went over that Wednesday night. And and then they sent me paperwork to show cause as to why they should allow me to stay on the property. So, and the thing was, they said that the document was, what do they call it? My reply was as a respondent. Now, the problem is if you respond, not a respondent, what's the word? I've got it here.
Resident?
No, I have to do, let's see, I'll get back down on the document. And it's a real trick word. It is the word Oh, where did I put that? Anyway, I was looking at it today. Thing is, you've got to stay in touch with them. And the way you stay out of contracting with them is to keep asking questions and never answer a question. Representation. They're asking us to send representations can be made about the matters contained in this notice by writing to them. So they're asking me to make representations on this council document. Now, the moment a representation is when you speak on behalf of something else. So they're actually wanting to contract with your name, the straw man, but they're asking me to represent the straw man. So at the moment, they don't have a contract with me. They're only claiming a contract with the name.
Just tell me, Ron, because they were supposed to be visiting just as you were here. What came?
Yeah. Well, I had David and Cherie here and Leanne. They all videoed it. They came through the gates again, this time with a policeman. And anyway, David is really good. He's the guy that he did his reversion about 10 or 11 years ago, and he was in one of our first group, and he's been working with me for about 10 years. And he helps now people in court. So he knows exactly how to deal with the police. And in fact, since he did his reversion, he was getting pulled up every 2 weeks by twice a week by the local coppers for no reason at all. He did his reversion, noticed the police departments around the state, and they haven't touched him ever since. And that was about 10 years ago. So the reversions worked, but he knew how to handle the coppers. They had everything videoed. They got their name, the badge numbers. So anyway, I'm in the process of lodging a complaint for trespass because I went through the 3 signs twice with vehicles, which is express trespass. But I've decided not to go after the police with trespass. I want to keep them as an ally. Okay, so I'm purely going after the council with trespass, and because it's going to be difficult if I charge the police with trespass and they go to the police to activate the trespass case. So with trespass, there's 2 things. The first thing is that you notify them that there was a trespass and you give them a brief as to who it was and why they were there and what they said and what we said, and video footage and photographs of the signs and stuff like that. And then at any time down the track, you can just call them up and say, look, I want to press charges now. So lodging the complaint and pressing charges are 2 different things. So I want to get the complaint lodged with the police, and I'll do it downtown police, so they get to learn the lesson that we can do this, but take the local council to task, because that's going to be my stick. So I'm in this document. I'm going to tell them what I've done. I've sent them an email today. They gave me 2 days to respond. To represent. Representations can be made. They wanted me to represent the name, and that's what they're actually saying. So they don't actually have authority to do what they're doing until I make a representation. So they're offering these 2 documents they sent as an email and through the.
Hold on, you broke for a second then, mate. Represent. Yeah. Just have to represent.
Well, the asking for representations is actually on their part asking me to enter into a contract.
Yes.
Okay.
So did you ask a question at that point, Ron? Did you say?
Yes, I did.
How can I represent myself?
Yes. Well, the deal is they have my Dutch spelling on this document, which there is no name attached to that. There's no commercial name. There's no estate. Because that's the Dutch spelling they've got on my name, which is what's on the title of the property as a trustee, which is W-I-J-N, which is the Dutch way of spelling a Y with the 2 dots. And when they did my birth certificate, they just put the letter Y instead of the I-J, which looks the same. They made a mistake. So the name or the straw man in my case, they've got it spelt wrong. So there is no straw man here. So I can go a lot of different directions on this, but the thing is, the key word in these 4 pages they sent me was the word representation. They're asking me to contract with the bills of exchange. Any document they send you is called a presentment under the bills of exchange. Now, a presentment means that they're presenting something to you, and if you trip up, you're going to enter into contract with them. So you've got to know what you're reading, and you've got to look for the trick word, because here there's about 4 or 5 boxes on the one page, and anything in a box, you know, is something that's not legal. And so all the important stuff they've got in boxes here. So you know straight away that there's something that's unlawful. You know the difference between lawful and legal, right? I think we cover this at the workshop, but lawful.
Some of the people here weren't at the workshop. So
lawful only applies to men and women, whereas legal applies to only corporations. Okay, and so if people ask, you know, oh, is that legal? Whatever you're doing, they're referring to something that only applies to corporations. But it just shows how much we've been hoodwinked into what the words mean. But representation here, this one word in the 4 pages, is their offer to contract. So now what I've done, I've actually sent an email today saying, listen, I've been instructed, because I'm the trustee on the property, right? So I sent an email back saying, listen, I've been instructed by the trust members, okay, to pursue trespass breaches and to pursue the council on breach of trust, breach of contract, and breach of their fiduciary duty. But I want to meet with you off the record, man to man, and see what you really are offering, because there's nothing on here that you're offering that's actually going to be interested to the trust members as a contract. So I'm setting up a meeting early next week to go in there and talk to them man to man and see what's actually on the table. And call this what it is. This is an offer to contract. Why should we sign anything or agree to anything when they've not shown their hand at all? They haven't even told me what they want to do with the property. They've just said they want to get a plumbing report on the sewer system here, which is one that I made up. It's got 4 drums. Sewage goes one pipe into another pipe, 4 drums. It's been working well for about 3 years. And they've not told me anything about what they want to achieve by us meeting. They haven't told me what they want to change here, and they haven't told me the conditions, no disclosure, nothing about a lawful contract. But they want me to go into contract before they disclose that, and that's not on. Yeah. So I'm asking them to meet up. So you need to recognize the word that's on the document. So we can play hardball, and that's the decision that I'm looking at. We can play hardball, chase them through the courts. We're looking at about 120 grand we can get out of them for trespass, and that's black and white, okay? It's like contract law. Trespass law is black and white. Whether they've got jurisdiction or not, it comes down to whether the Australia Act works and whether it's legit in their system, and it isn't. That becomes an argument. So it comes down how much energy I want to put out to fight this. So that's the purpose of the meeting. I'm going to go there and see, well, what is it that you want us to do? If all they want us to do is put some plans on a bit of paper, pay $800, you know, and put them and say, look, all you want some money, is that right? And, you know, because everything else here is working fine. We've got our own power, our own water, own sewage, completely off grid. It's only a small shack, 8 meters square. It's only a little bit outside of their bylaws that doesn't even need a permit, so or notification. So I want to find out what they want to put on the contract before I do anything.
Very good, Ron.
You know? And then it comes down to whether I'm going to be bothered putting out that energy to fight this, because I know in the last 2 weeks, we've really struggled with the energy levels of getting ready for Zoom meetings and teaching and meeting with people with their legal problems or challenges. And on the other hand, fighting these councils. You just got to make a decision as to at what point. So we choose our battles rather than just choose every battle. You just got to step away from it. We've got the ammunition to take this to the High Court, but do you have, and we could win. I'll tell you right now, what we know, we can win every battle. But do we have the 300,000 or 400,000 or more that's going to take to go to the High Court? Because here in Tassie, the Supreme Court won't touch anything that's got to do with constitutional matters, because the Tasmanian Constitution and the legal system here is just way out on left field. It's out of sync with the whole rest of Australia. Here, the Supreme Court won't even recognise High Court rulings if it doesn't suit them. The High Court rulings of Australia. Okay, so we're up against some really crazy stuff down here. So everybody here have got to make that decision. We teach our people how they can win, but then you've got that choice as whether you want to take that fight on or whether you're going to get just back and deal with the real stuff, and that's helping people with their issues. Yeah. So sorry about that. Just a bit of a rant, but that's what I've been working on the last couple of weeks, so, as well as everything else. So,
can I ask something here? As a caravan park, we have to register our caravan park with the council. There's a 3-year period to have our caravan park registered as a business. It is due this year. I don't really want to pay it. Do I get into any sort of problems with the council? I suppose I would anyhow, but what are my choices?
Well, Frank, just a quick one. You've set up a PMA. You've got 2 trusts from what you said earlier. From what I comprehend, the PMA, as long as your members are paying a percentage or an entry of $1, from what Ron said earlier, then you're in the private. Why would you need to register?
I need to register.
You need to, or they want you to?
They want me to register. I have to do it every 3 years once.
It's a business.
Yeah, as a business.
But you're not a business anymore. You're a PMA. Have you dropped your ABN yet? Have you got rid of it? Have you closed it?
Yes, I instructed my accountant to drop everything. He's not very happy about it, but that can't be helped.
Okay, so Ron, I mean, I'm happy for you to give Frank what you're thinking.
Yeah, mate, I'll be frank with you, and that and that is
that was good.
you've got to, with this, you've got to stick to your guns, because they're trying to contract you back into commerce. Okay. As a PMA group, you'd have a lot more security if your business was in a trust, in a private trust.
Yep.
Because then the entire law for your trust comes under Commonwealth law, number 1, and number 2, under private trust law, that you're not running a business, you're providing sustenance for your family.
Yep.
Because that's the wording in the trust deed.
Yep.
Okay. It's not just a matter of getting rid of the ABNs, ACNs, but they want to be part of your commerce. You've just got to do a document back to them as saying, sorry, I'm not in commerce.
Yep. There's one.
I'm simply providing sustenance for my family.
Another problem which is cropped up the last few weeks. I had somebody, a developer, interested in buying the entire park, but which we knocked back about a year or so ago. And he has come back again. He wants to buy just half the park, the top part, which has a view over the lake. And he wants to put units up. I got no idea how many, but he wants to sell each one of them for about $500,000. So I suppose he would have to have about 50 or 60, 70 units. I got no idea how he would do it. I've been asking it. I can split the property in 2. That's not a problem. And that would have to be done through council with changing the whatever documents they are.
No, what you can do, and this is, you really got to know what you're doing, but what you can do, rather than selling him the title, you can sell him the equity, not the legal title, but the equitable title. So you can say, look, I'm still going to own the land, so it doesn't come into with anything to do with the title department. I still own the land, but I'm going to sell you that area under equitable title, just like a tenant. So they will become a tenant to your property. So they can go and build on that property as a tenant, all right, and pay you like a tenant would. They'll pay you a monthly fee. It's a good, actually, you're seeing it as a real challenge, but it's actually an amazing opportunity for you.
Oh, lovely.
You just have to turn the negative into the positive. If you sell him the equitable title, if he puts 20 units on it, just say, look, I want 300,000 for every unit, right? And then he might sell them for 600,000. I don't know, whatever the figures are. Or you can say either 300,000 or 15% of its takings or 15% of profit. You've got to be careful there, because they could run it at a loss and then you don't get a penny. So you could say 15% of takings rather than 15% of profit. Okay, they can run any business at a loss. So don't get sucked into the profit line, just a turnover figure. Or X amount of dollars per year, that you want $3,000 or $4,000 per unit per year. It becomes just a math. It just becomes a math issue for them, and you just got to work out the figures. And to be the best for your advantage is work out what they're going to be selling for, and again, they'd be simply selling the equity title in the property, just like timeshare. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you retain legal title of the land, and all you're doing is selling the equitable title, which is 9/10 of the law, because they got possession. They get tenancy rights, but the contract you write up with them would be the same as tenancy laws for a tenant moving into the property. Okay. Now you know what you've just done. You've just done to them what the council wants to do to you.
Yep.
Okay.
That is wonderful news.
Listen, you've got to really comprehend trust law to do it. You've got to comprehend trust law. Equity law is superior to legal title. Equitable title is superior than legal title. Okay.
Right.
Councils operate under the presumption that they have legal title. That's why they want to know, they want to be able to tell you what to do on your land. But see, you've got equitable title already, and they can't do anything without your consent because you've got equitable title. Fee simple is only equitable title. It's only allodial title that you have legal and equitable title. This is where trust law really comes into its own, and why a business should be in a trust, okay, rather than in the public, a private trust. You can always, any challenge, when you look from a trust point of view, all these challenges we go through makes things very simple.
Is the business in
And you can turn it into an opportunity.
I'm going to suggest something. People like to go for a trip to Tasmania for Easter next year. As in the year. We're in the year. Are we in the year? No. Yeah, Easter next year. Should we go and visit Ron and go and camp on his land and have a few good chats?
Oh, no. That'd be awesome.
Who's interested in a camping trip to Tasmania? Book your ferry now, because there are two there. Chris is up for it. Nadia, Claire.
Listen, Michelle and I are going for 4 weeks to Victoria and up to Queensland visiting family, and we're going to take a week off in the Blue Mountains before we come back towards the end of February. And so yeah, we've got a sabbatical on workshops for that time. We might still do the Zoom meeting on every Wednesday night.
We can't get there for Christmas. We were looking to go for Christmas, but there's no ferries. But if we book for Easter, I'm just wondering whether we could.
That'd be great. You guys are always welcome here.
Yeah,
you're always welcome.
A great comprehension. One-to-one round of fire is always better.
We're having a workshop up at Guns Plains where there've been people there coming, and they've done all of our 10 workshops at Launceston. But Guns Place is about 2 hours west of Launceston, and there's a community up there of about 100 families, and they want us to go and start the series there from series 1 working all the way through series 10. But we're going to be doing 2-day weekends up there to get through it quicker. But that's at the end of November or middle of November sometime. We haven't set a date yet.
No,
but
I'm sort of talking Easter, but
yeah, no, Easter's good. Easter's good.
I know he's interested, but maybe we can have a bit of a clan gathering.
Oh, that'd be good. We just had.
I know Rugen said he wanted to go to Tasmania if I went there. So I don't know.
The North Coast gets a lot. The North and West Coast gets a lot of rain, but we're in a bit of a rain shadow here. But the beauty about our property is we've got springs, and we converted a spring into a shallow well, and we've got unlimited water here, drinkable water. So it's really.
I've beached around where Ron lives. It's beautiful in the summer.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I've been to some of the beaches around where you live, so because my brother lived there.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful in the summer.
Yeah, it is. We've got a private beach between where we are and it's right opposite the island, Wimmera Island, and it's only about 20 minutes away because we're slightly inland, up the mountains.
Lots of crayfish in your area too.
Yes, it's really good. You don't have to go far off here to get tuna and yellowtail and yellowfin. Sorry, and
we can use a few of those boats behind you. Just climb aboard and go get some.
Mate, they're just a camera. Don't you can turn it off anytime.
I'm being a little bit deceptive here. That photograph was taken at Wollongong.
Okay. I know a guy down there that has a big army vehicle that he's turned into a home, and he goes and gets gold from all around.
Oh yeah.
He goes diving for gold and has those little puffer units that you get the dirt out of when you drill a hole, and he uses that and he squirts it in and then he sucks it out along the ledge, and out he comes with gold.
Yeah.
It's funny that I met an Italian about 20-something years ago in the Avens River. I noticed a guy disappearing under the water every now and then. So I went up to him and talked to him. He had a puffer in his hand, and in the crevices, he sucked all the sand and whatever there was out. And every year, with all the gold that he found, he had a trip to Europe every year.
Wow.
It's just
a lot of gold here.
That was about 20 years ago.
He's got a boat too. I could get hold of him to get some crayfish on at that time we come down.
We just sold our boat. We had a 57-foot ex-trawler that we lived on for a number of years, and we only sold it. It was more of a business decision than anything, but we wanted to be released from all the mooring fees and repair fees. And it was a timber hull boat, beautiful boat, made in Eden out of spotted gum. And we were living on it at the marina for about 5 or 6 years. But we sold that. But the deal was we paid off the property, and it just released us now to do what we're doing now full time, and it's really great meeting all the people around the place. So
wonderful.
Hopefully we can put a lot more groups together. That's the main thing. There's been 4 or 5 people now from West Australia. I don't know location wise, but we're connecting them together. They were on the Zoom meeting the other night, and now they said to us, "What does it take to get us to go over there and do a workshop?" And I said, "Well, you get 20 to 30 people across, and we'll come across and do a workshop." And so now they're all buzzing around trying to get 20 or 30 people together for a workshop. But at the same time, we're going to see that side of the country we hadn't seen ever. So, but bringing these people together, bringing the groups together, it's really good.
It is really good for the connection and the good feeling that people have when they connect and comprehend that the system is so broken that we really need to start standing up and seeing our true rights, our lawful rights.
Yeah.
I reckon Nadia might be making yogurt there. I'm not sure if it's yogurt or. Dan, what you doing there? Yeah, I can see her.
Making some butter.
Sorry, you making what?
Making butter.
Butter. Oh, bloody hell! Good on you.
Too much milk, Andy. What am I going to do with it all?
Bring some down here. I might even come and visit.
Maybe you're going to have to.
I'm a bit worried about the milk products at the moment, with the amount of vaccines.
What sort of milk is it? What sort of milk is it? Is it cow?
Yeah, it's cow's milk. Oh, we've got both. We've got cows and goats.
Yeah, we've got goats down here. So, yeah, it's really good.
It's lovely.
What sort of cow is it?
She's an Angus cross Jersey.
Oh, okay, nice. The Jersey would bring up the cream content, and the Angus is the volume. Yeah,
that's right. And Angus is
meat. Yeah,
Angus is a meat cow. So when we join her, we've joined her with a Murray Grey. So yeah, got a meat calf out of her.
Oh, good. As long as it's a little boy.
Well, one died, and we got one. One was born fine, so we did get a little boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's farming, isn't it?
It is. We've just had we had triplets last year with our goat, one girl and two little bucks, and we couldn't dispatch the two little bucks, so we got two full-grown males now. They're in a fully electrified area fence. They keep ripping up fences, so we've fully electrified. And last about 10 months ago, they broke out of there and got back with their mum and their sister, and now we've got babies everywhere. So anyway, they didn't have two heads. They didn't have two heads.
Most Tasmanians.
We had twins a couple of weeks ago.
But we grabbed the little boy this time. This time the mama had a little girl and a boy, and we grabbed the little boy just last week and put a ring around his family jewels. So he's going to be a pet. And but anyway. But if you got no, we can't. But if anybody wants a purebred two son and purebred male bucks. Well, one's called Randy, so you know that. the other one's called Bob.
just so Rugen's just dropped out and he sent me a message. He said, had to get off, but really good that you got Ron on there each time. It's really all equity, folks. Just really need to study and
it is
till they start to get out of the fear. So, and it is. Well, thank you all. I don't know. It's like I don't know how long you want to keep going for, but who wants to say what? Any questions?
Just last thing, one thing, and this is what I've noticed with a lot of what I'm researching over the last couple of weeks. The enemy's main tool is fear. What they do, whenever you respond to anything, respond to any presentment from them, they want to push you on the basis of fear to respond hesitantly and not respond correctly and contract with them by making a mistake through fear. And but the moment you can pick up on their key words that are contracting with them, the fear goes, because now you know how to come back at them.
Thank you, Ron.
Turn a challenge into a blessing. Hey, Frank?
I'm sorry?
Turn a challenge into a blessing.
Yes.
You know, challenges are sent to us so we can learn how to do things better. So there's always something better to look forward to when we hit a challenge, especially when you've got a clean heart and pure hands. When you want to do the right thing, that's when they come against you, and you've got to, then you know it's got to be a learning experience.
That's equity though, isn't it? Coming to a clean
That's
heart.
equity. That's equity, exactly.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
I know where we're to, but any more questions? Sorry?
I just asked Mazzy if he wanted an update on the floods.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Andy,
Avoca
can you send Mark and Valerie's email address so I can put this other couple in?
Yeah, of course I can, Ron.
Yeah, just so I can connect them in Gippsland and they can support each other over there.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate.
Hmm.
Go on, Glenn, you were talking about your floods in your area?
Yeah, down at Avoca, they had anywhere of up around 90 mil, maybe 100 mil, but there was one report of 150 mil. And the Avoca town itself, it went up 7 metres and down 7 metres in about a 10 or 12 hour period. And it broke its bank somewhere and headed to Natty Yelliak, which is a fairly flat one east. I think it's east of Avoca. And it's pretty well devastated there. It's heading towards Charlton. It'll be there tonight, maybe through lunchtime tomorrow at its peak, and it's going to get between the 2010 flood. It got to about 790, and 2011, about 2 months later, it got to 8 metres 50, and it's going to be somewhere in between that. And so they're evacuating out of town back into Witchy here.
Yep.
Who wants to go? So,
Is this all farming area?
Hey?
Is that all farming area?
Pretty much so, yeah.
Like crops, or is it animals?
Combination, and also got some areas you got vineyards and so forth, or like of olive trees or something like stone fruits, whatever as well. So, but otherwise, yeah, a lot of cropping, a lot of sheep and that sort of stuff. So, but most of the crops are about buggered if you're anywhere near the river, sort of thing. Like
we're talking Murray River.
No,
we're
an hour from the Murray River. The Avoca doesn't really end up in the. It ends up over around Kerrang. It doesn't really get into the Murray, but everywhere along the Murray is going to go underwater. Everywhere, whole way along.
Rochester's flooded.
Rochester, Seymour's
flooded.
The Maribyrnong down in Melbourne went under this morning.
Yeah.
Flooded suburbs.
We used to live in Yea. We used to live in Yea in Victoria many years ago, and I was in the CFA in Yea, and our office was in Seymour. And it's always the Goulburn River always took it hard when we had the heavy rains.
Yeah, well, Shepherd and Benalla, they'll cop it tomorrow. I think some today, but tomorrow. Wangaratta, anywhere there's a river.
Yeah. We've noticed that with what Steve put up in regards to the falls, where they concentrate on the rivers.
Yep.
So we just need more devices so we can point at 3 or 4 different places at once.
Definitely.
The thing with the Avoca River, it's a river that gets smaller the further it goes.
Glenn,
it's only a rough catchment.
Glenn, it seems we need a roller. Chris is struggling to find someone to roll the metal to make these rain bazookas. Do you know anybody that's got one?
I wonder if Cozzo would do it.
You could ask Cozzo, or you could ask
We can't get purchase, but we can't get anywhere at the moment. Actually, we're flooded in.
Yeah.
But
what size metal did you have before there, Andy? What were you using?
We were using I think it was 0.6 is what Neil got. Neil, are you still in the room, mate? Give us a shout what you supplied last time. We were hand rolling it last time, but I've been thinking about getting a roller or making a roller for a long time, and I'm half tempted to invest in making one, you know, sort of 2 meters long, so we can start making some reasonable sized tubes.
Yeah, I've got to. Steve sent me to 2 different places, which I've still got to get to. So we'll see how we go. I'll speak to the people in town to see if we can get this 0.4, so we can hand roll it.
Neil, are you there, mate? What was this? What was the gal you were getting, mate? You're unmuted. Neil? Hello, Neil. Don't make me call you, please. He's unmuted, but he's not talking. Hello, Neil.
So Nadia and Glenn had flus, yeah, which we'll bring along.
Yeah.
We'll bring them over here and see what we can do with them.
Yep.
Yeah, they're 150 mil ones, so we'll see what we can do.
Yep. I think my one's 180 wide, so there was those ones. They'll fit straight into the hundreds, though.
Yeah.
No problems with that.
Yeah, well, we'll bring them over. We've got 6. There's 900 long. 3 of them are riveted together, so we'll just bring them as is.
Yep.
And the other 3 are well, there's 4 over there, I think.
Yep. So my 200, my 180's actually got. They're not full lengths inside, so I've got the bonnet like they're just joined together, and then I put a cover over as I go back out. So we can add bits and pieces to make them longer.
Yeah, I will just bring them over and we'll see what we can do with them.
Yep. I'll definitely be there, but I'm gonna try and attempt to get some 0.4.
Yep. Okay.
How do you want it rolled? If we get it right, we can find someone.
In a circle.
Yeah.
So
you just look at the 180. So if you cut them and they're going into 100s, you'll probably have to snip a little bit off of those ones to fit inside of the 100s.
Yeah.
But even if you've got 3 100s, that's still pretty good, and you can put them together. You can actually use the one whole 3 pieces together as one.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still have that type of thing and a couple of small ones to direct. That's why I'm going to do these small ones, so we can have a look at them and see how they work.
Yep.
But I've just I had a mate that was in New South Wales, and he's got one from that Harry guy. He's had it in his cupboard for quite some time, so he's going to dig that out and send it to me. He's charged me basically just to send it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And that's like the 50 mils. That's just the real short ones. But it's got a stand with it and a couple of other apparatus. But I'll let you see that when it comes out. It's completely different. It's like
you come back in on another connection. We've got you in here twice.
It might be different now.
Yeah. I'm just trying to cancel out the phone one.
Oh, okay. Oh, you come on a computer, have you? We were asking what the thickness of the metal was that you supplied last time that we were hand rolling.
I reckon it was 0.5.
0.5.
No, sorry, 0.4.
0.4. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about making a roller so we can roll what we need. I've seen them. I've got ideas. Obviously, I've got to buy some bearings so I can make it work and tubing. But we've got to combat what these guys are doing. If we can get enough of these things out and they're all pointing the right direction, then we can. I mean, looking at what we did the other day, we dropped it from supposedly 80 mil to 20 mil. If we can do that in most areas, we can get more people involved. Then their armor is smashed every time. You know, and the same with you in Tasmania, Ron. I mean, you know, you need one of these things as well. Just on a Telegram group, you set the thing in the morning, you know, or whenever you get a Telegram message, you know, point it at 142 or point it at 27 or whatever degrees. You get a decent compass and you just point the thing in the right direction and you just walk away from it and leave it to it. It's not a lot of hard work once it's built. And if we can look at what these criminals are trying to do to us, flooding people out, then we've got to be.
My solar panels are pointed 5 degrees west of due north, solar north, that is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if I knew what the heck you guys were talking about and what you've invented.
We've not invented it. It's all you need to do is go and watch a YouTube video called Kate Bush. What's it called again?
Trevor James Constable.
Sorry?
Trevor James Constable. He shows you the devices that he uses.
Who's my constable?
I'll get a link for you.
Pop the link in the chat, mate. Pop the link in the chat, matey.
Yeah, yeah.
I was watching the floods there tonight on the news, and Jane Bunn come on with the weather. She's a weatherologist, whatever she is. Anyway, she was saying that for every week up until January, there's going to be an event every week through Victoria.
Yeah.
There's going to be some sort of major rainfall from now
Well, I
on.
think I'm going to get my.
How can they possibly say that unless they're bloody planning it?
Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but it's good that they do say it, because then we can get prepared on what they're trying to do. So it's a sort of a warning for us. So it is a good thing. So then we can start watching what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hook up our hydropower. We've got on our dam here. It's part of the creek. We've got a 2 kilowatt motor being installed on the dam to provide power to the shack. And we've had a wall of water come over there in some of the downpours. So, and I've got a wind turbine going up on a 15-meter pole or a stand. So I think I'll put the hydro in first if we can have all this rain.
Yeah, definitely.
What you got to comprehend, Ron, is that it's not just about backing the rain off. I mean, they're forcing the rain at this point, but Chris has actually been in a position where he's brought rain into Adelaide and stopped fires.
Yeah.
If you can explain that, Chris, just so Ron can comprehend where you're at. But you saw a storm, from my memory, in NT, and you brought it into Adelaide for 8 o'clock the next morning and put the fires.
Yeah, we were just, me and Steve were playing around in the northwest, and we're bringing rains in across, because we try to get rains inland no matter where we are, where the wind direction is, and that's what I certainly look at when I follow the maps, where the winds are going, how they're being created, where the lows are being created. So we got a whole heap of rain coming in from the northwest, and it was only coincidence that by the time I got down to South Australia, there was a fire, because it was in summertime. There was a fire in the Adelaide Hills, and it got, I think it was around about 250 hectares. Was it 1,000 hectares, Steve, or it was quite a big area?
Yeah, in the 1,000.
Yeah, it was quite a big area. But by the morning, like this fire started overnight, went crazy. By the morning, this massive rain that we brought down to go inland actually came straight down into South Australia and put the fire out.
We can also drain the lightning out of their summer storms as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's just a matter of it's like sometimes I'm sitting here till 3, 4 in the morning watching maps.
You just got to know the maps and what they're up to.
Yeah.
Once you know what these pedophiles are up to, it's pretty easy to work them out, because they're thick as fuck.
Yeah, so I watch my maps sometimes all night long, and then wait for in the morning when I give you guys directions. I get back up at 7 o'clock in the morning, have a couple of hours sleep, and then I'll give you guys directions. So I'm on to this sort of 24/7.
Show them that plan, Chris. Their plan. Yeah, I just sent Chris this.
Go on, Steve.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it now. Hang on.
This is valid to Monday, the 28th of November. This is what these pricks have got planned. They tell you all this in advance.
So this is here what we're looking at over here. So they break through. They break through this red stuff. Can you see it yet?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
So this is their next attempt.
Drought, smog, hurricane, and firefighting.
So that's where we, we
got mouse there. Explain. You're in northern Western Australia at the moment, by the looks of that. Or
that's
white area.
Yeah,
what
so
does
that's
the
what
white
they're going
area
to
mean? What does the white and green and blue mean there?
Nothing dry as it's Exmouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual, if you go down to the bottom scale there, Chris, if you, see the bottom scala, that's the amount of rain. 500 mil is the purple. So
Okay.
400, 350.
Yeah.
Which is trying to go for New Zealand over there.
New Zealand and Victoria and New South Wales, virtually.
It turns and comes down.
Queensland, Darwin.
So when we're getting rain coming in, we're already starting on these areas. We're starting on these areas to drain it as it comes down on through. But that's the type of thing that happened when we had fires. It wasn't as big as that, but it came straight through, came all the way down into South Australia and put out the fire. And I've been able to put out fires in Tasmania by drawing up moisture from the south to hit Tasmania.
And this is just with basically bazookas which you've made at home.
Yes.
Yep.
And how far do these bazookas travel? How far does
we can go from here in South Australia all the way up to here. It doesn't matter where we point to, they go further than you think. Like I've destroyed cyclones in Madagascar.
We destroyed all the cyclones that are coming into Australia last year, early this year too, didn't we?
Yeah, I've been hitting all cyclones for 6 years.
That's why none of the cyclones have developed. We just hit them.
And we break up the rain and put it everywhere else where they don't want it to be, instead of a uniform cyclone coming in. So
the whole point is they're artificial shit. Just can't touch our natural.
Yeah, we can take out their towers. We can take out their towers. That's why.
Steve, Chris, question: how many people would you need in Australia to basically bring back normal weather from the equipment they've already got there?
Probably the same as the Wimmera area where you are, and having 6 there. There's 6 in Melbourne, 6 in Queensland, 6 in New South Wales. New Zealand have got about, well, I know one lady who's got 9. But they're the smaller ones, but they still work. So just having little areas where we can have these designed, like we're going to get 3 over to West Australia. Then they can start from there heading north and south. And they can start taking out, there's a term called sweeping where we actually start at one point and then we sweep and then we lift it up and go back to the start and then we sweep again and up again. And Ali's been doing that for New Zealand and moving highs and lows further away to the east from them while we're doing this. So once we get used to it, we start to use and do different things. It's like in summertime, when in the middle of Australia it's going to get to about 50 degrees, we can actually lower the temperature.
What we actually need is about 5 days of darkness so we can take all these installations out, because they're pretty easy to take out. All your mobile phone towers are easy to take out. Take all these installations out and they're stuffed.
So now looking at what happened, we've been covering Melbourne for a long time, stopping major events even happening. But with this one here, we worked on the low and pushed one south, and then they created another one and used all the stuff from the northwest to do what they did. We still drained a lot of the areas. There's no two ways about it. Both me, Steve.
Our rain was massively dropped. I mean, they were threatening us 80 mil, and they stated we got 20. So and that was just from Nadia and us pointing in the direction of where it was coming.
Yeah, and then is what we did. We couldn't work out where this beam was coming from, and sort of they were flooding rivers that they know where they are. They know what they're doing. So they just kept one area full of rain, whether it was from the chemtrails or, you know, we get a lot of seeding here, plains, and then all of a sudden it's raining in Melbourne. So if they want us to hit Adelaide, they'll sort of do it in between Sejuna and out where no one is, to flood South Australia. But they are starting to use the highs and the lows to create this weather. So they've just been relentless. That's all. We cleared the first lot from Melbourne, which you guys helped with, and you noticed that the first lot didn't really happen.
Yeah.
And then the second lot they brought down from the north and done a few other things that we couldn't.
Oh, we could literally see on the map the red just disappearing dissipating from the cloud that was coming down, which is the heavier rain.
Yeah,
So,
and like Steve put up another picture earlier. Let's see if I can find it, Steve, of where the actual where did we put it? We put it in here. Here.
what I love about this is that we've not only got trust and equity, so we know where we stand. We've got we're learning the control of the weather that we need so that we can live happily.
See, where's Melbourne here? This is more of the east, the west, isn't it?
That's
so we can see where, you know, the red parts are where they're actually concentrating on.
Right on the rivers.
Yeah, right on the rivers.
And they do the same in New South Wales.
So we're just got to keep an eye out where these other towers are, where that beam came from for you, you know, whether is it here or here, you know? I've got to look on Google Earth to actually pinpoint where the Sechuka is coming from. Once we pinpoint it, then I can use the one that's coming to point right into it, and that's where we use.
Was that a rainfall chart? Was that the millimeters of rainfall?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So where the red was heavy rainfall, and the millimeter was the numbers shown, and then the yellow. Just go back to it again.
Yeah, you got him up. I'm just waiting for you guys to see it.
Explain what we're seeing, because we're not seeing what you're seeing. So help us comprehend what you're seeing in that map.
See all the red, right? The red's 59 mil, 53 mil.
Yeah.
If you look at the towns, most of them are on those blue rivers.
Yeah.
So then the yellow's 42 mil, 31. Then it goes down to the green over here at Glendale, which is 8 mil. But you look at Ballarat, 51, right on the river.
Yeah.
We ended up with 58.
Yeah, but this map it resets every night. It resets 9 a.m. every morning.
Yeah.
So come to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning or whenever I took this, it'll reset and come up again. So this is just for that 24-hour period is these totals.
Yeah, right.
But it gives us an idea also where, you know,
and we got back to 20. I mean, Horsham was 21.18, is it? Is that 21.18? Is that two? That's two things there, isn't it? 21.
Yeah, 21 and 18 is not a town.
We were threatened 80 mil. So I mean, we did. Charlton there's 33, which is they were threatened a fair bit more.
Yeah, Charlton had 33, and then we had 30, basically 25, 26 the day before. So, you know, total of 50 or 60 mil all up.
Which is a lot less than what they predicted.
And that's where the rain, that's where the groundwater and that comes from. And Avoca had the same, like they had 50, 60, 80, 90 mil officially, but some places may have had 100 or 110 or 20. So
most of the Wimmera is now running. The ground is sodden enough that it's running. So any rain that comes now is dangerous.
So when we see
property, our property just here, we're fairly flat. We've got a little holler, but we're walking around in about 4 to 6 inches of water, just from rain and groundwater. Nothing, no flood water. We don't get the river out here, but where I work is through the river area, and but we're in 4 or 6 inches of water just here ourselves.
Yeah. So next time we see this, like even before it, we follow it through. So we're pointing this way, you know, to keep it like stop what's coming. But then when is what we need to do is actually turn it around and then focus on these areas where the rivers are. Like, so this is what we'll do next time. As it goes over our heads, we turn it around. That's what me and Steve do from the west. We follow it through into where we are. Then we just turn them over and then point them east. As you can see, most of it's coming in from the northwest, so we can deal with the stuff in the bight because we can all point at that as well, which we did the other day.
Yeah.
All right. So when the rain comes like this, we just turn around and start following where they're going to be at, so we can see where they want to put all this shit.
Yeah. Kyneton basically in the middle of that map of the heavy red.
Yeah, we just got to follow it through. Turn the devices around and follow it all.
The second half of next week, I was looking on the maps there tonight on Channel 7, and they're talking for here, they're talking around the 25 to 50 mil in the second half of next week.
Yeah.
But as we go further more into central Victoria and Shepparton and so forth again, that could be pushing up to 75 mil or something like that, because it's coming round with that low coming across Australia. It turns and comes down from New South Wales and comes in here, and they bring it in from the northeast again.
Yep.
And we're going to cop another one and back over to Horsham way, and that you might be back to your 10 to 15 mil. But through central Victoria again with those rivers and so forth, there's going to be another 50 mil roughly, give or take, is what they're forecasting.
Yeah, well, then we follow it.
Yeah.
Then we follow it and point into it. So you get up in the morning. You've got to move your device a little bit during the day as well. Just a couple of millimeter, just to keep it working. At times, sometimes it can get stagnant and stop. So you just move it a little bit. But when you're following this type of shit, you've got to move it anyway. So you just open up your maps to see what's going on. You look for the red parts and you point at them. So
how much power does this use, Mazzy?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Earths it. You just earth it to the ground.
Yes.
You can actually break chemtrails down with them too. If you've got the time to sit there and follow the chemtrail backwards and forwards, I can break them down.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I pulled up the YouTube here, so I'll watch it after we hang up tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I was going to hire an excavator to do some work around the property here Tuesday night, pick it up Tuesday night, but Wednesday and yesterday was supposed to be really, really heavy rain here, and nothing happened. We just had a little bit of light drizzle, and tonight we've got a little bit of heavy rain that lasted for about an hour, but that was it.
Yep.
So I'm not sure.
We had me and Steve were actually pointing at Tasmania at the red coming from Melbourne.
And just before that, I was on the lows down in the bight too.
Yep.
And then shifted over to Tasmania. And that's the result.
Well, yeah.
You'll see, we will start to see with more people, we'll start to see this stuff disappearing a lot quicker. That's why I'm making some smaller ones.
But the beauty of this is it's not just about stopping the rain. We can actually bring the rain in if we need it.
Yes.
Yes, we've done that.
Don't think we're going to all end up with a drought because of what we're doing. As long as we know what we're doing, and as long as we keep as a group, then we can assist with the rain as well as stopping the rain.
Correct. Look, you guys can go. We can all point up the north coast, all in different positions, or the east coast. So if they've got heavy rains going through there, and we start to point, we've got one guy in Gympie. He notices it as well. As soon as he starts to point up into what's coming ahead, it all dissipates. So I'm going to make these 4 little ones. They're 2 pipes each on the one device, so we can have people that have got smaller yards, maybe fit them in their houses at the same time. So
yeah.
But they will work. They will work. There's no two ways about it. From the distance we get from the things that we are using, we can go for thousands of miles.
Well, I mean, we were pointing at 1,650 k's at Queensland the other day, and we could see, literally, we could see the isobars suddenly change and do this, a curve, and they whacked out to the coast. And Nadia and I were both pointing ours at them. You guys were pointing somewhere else, I think, but we could see the effect of what we were doing. And, and I commented on the Telegram group. I went, well, look at that. It was like the bar went from that to that and just whooped it out to the coast.
Yep.
So yeah, it was quite dramatic for me to say, well, yeah, I think we did something. I think we stopped, Lismore getting flooded again, which was pretty pleasing. So we just need to build it. At the end of the day, what do we need? We need trust, equity, and we need the right environment to live in.
Yeah.
And that's what this is.
Definitely.
Can we design a device that works on frequency that just selects corrupt people and knocks them off?
Well, yeah, I've been looking into that. Don't worry about that.
You say that wrong. I don't think we need to. I think there's going to be plenty of people that have been forced into taking something they didn't want to. They're going to be so wound up, so
they're going to do all that dirty work.
So incensed that some of these people are going to get knocked off anyway.
Totally agree with you.
Now, here's another thing that they do. This here has sort of been coloured in, but it's like a frequency that goes through there, and it actually changes what they're doing. You can see it, in the actual map where it moves. That they hit us with these things, and it disperses and does strange things to what's coming in.
Now, Liz posted something on the Telegram group. There's about 4 different radar or whatever they are stations in that area. And we could actually see lines on the map where they were forcing those out at one point. There was a picture on the Telegram group. I don't know whether you can drag that up just to show them. But you could literally see there was a beam on the map where they were hitting it.
That's
Chris or not?
Yeah, I've got it.
That beam, that was about 8 o'clock yesterday morning. And if you looked at the wind direction, it was all coming down from Queensland, etc., following that down. It was hitting around the Avoca area, coming from the northeast. But directly on the other side, on the Stall side, it was all coming from the south. And it was basically the wind had come in and sort of come to each other, and it was just a straight line down there, and then it just turned. That was just casually going up that way. It was all coming down this way, and it was all just hitting each other, but it was all centered around Avoca or, into a central Victoria. And that's where they got the rain.
Yep, here it is here.
Glenn, you've got Chris's number, haven't you? You can keep in touch.
Yeah, no, it's talking to him every day. So
this one here. Once this came into effect, you can see there was nothing really there. But as soon as this line started up,
that comes out from, what was the town called? It was coming up from something was starting with a Y, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that's over here.
Yarrawonga.
Yarrawonga, yeah, okay. So it wasn't that.
Yarrawonga.
That's over here. This is actually
Echuca, isn't it?
Echuca, that's the one.
Yeah, if you go east of Bendigo at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, there was a line from about Avoca, just a blue line, and that you followed that all the way up, went up through Broken Hill, went right up into the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
It was just the one line. It just come down in a curve and followed all the way down. That was 8 o'clock yesterday morning.
Yeah, so you can get pictures
5
of
in the
it.
morning, 8 in the morning.
I don't know if I sent you a photo though, Mazzy.
You might have. But this is what I thought we would be doing. But then I got up in the morning and everything was already in the east.
Yeah.
It was already all over here. So this is what I was thinking we could do to stop that flow of here. So you see how the wind is being made here, like a line.
Yep.
This is what we're going to focus on next time for this year. But this is what I said to everyone, okay, this is sort of what we're going to be doing for tomorrow. When I woke up, it was already here. It was already over here.
Can you see where on your map there? You can see where Mount Isa is. Yesterday morning, the wind direction they had on Windy,
Yep.
The wind was coming all the way from that Mount Eyes. It was turning and coming all the way down. It was hitting that Alice Springs and coming all the way down through Broken Hill, down into about Avoca area in that northerly direction coming down. But on the other side of that, directly other side, back up through South Australia, it was all going back up where that low is up in WA there. It was all heading that way.
Yeah.
And it's just one line they were bringing down.
Yep.
It was all centered down into there, bringing that northern air down.
Yep. That's where me and Steve were going to go, straight into that line. We were hitting it actually coming from over here. We're actually hitting here to see if we could break this line.
Yep.
Hey.
On the weather, the Channel 7 there tonight, they had, I suppose it's a 3-month forecast, and the eastern half of Australia through to halfway across Australia. Obviously starting about the yellows through the centre of Australia, but the further you got east and then down into Victoria and that, and depending on what area you're in, the darker it got and the more you got, and it's just going to be wet.
Yeah, yeah.
So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll follow them in. That's what we do. We follow them in with all this shit. Just like that other map where everyone's pointing off.
Right.
Hey?
I said we'll have more bazookas, so we'll be right.
That's correct. And a couple of these little things, I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can do with these little ones. We're actually going to put mirrors on the ends as well. So we have mirror down the back and we'll have mirrors on the front of them.
Okay, yep.
On these small ones. Yeah, so I'll make sure I've got some 0.4 steel before I even turn up over there. The 0.4, we should be able to roll by using the actual the devices themselves, the plastic itself.
Yep.
So we should be able to roll it up, but I will be trying to get more thinner stuff. We might try where you go, Steve, first to see what they've got, but we might have to go and buy.
Neil,
the workshop's got nibblers and all that type of shit, so we can cut them while we're there. So I'll get a couple of sheets so we can cut them down.
Yeah, I believe 0.4 is the smallest you can go in the thickness.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll sort out some of those sheets so when we turn up. But I've got 8 canisters. We'll make 4 and go from there.
Well, I've got another 3.
We got some 150 mil pipe here as well that we found out. So
well, the tubes I got are actually 75, so we're not trying to squash it down too much. So we might stick away from the 50 mil and go back up to a 75, which will be easier to maintain the steel, getting the steel into.
Yeah, if we don't use it, come home, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've got to say that 40 mil pipe was a bit difficult. Was it 40 mil?
Yeah, well, the pipes that they're using there are actually the vacuum cleaner stuff. So if you've already got the vacuum cleaner pipe, which once I get this other device, I'll show you. This little one that I'm getting. They're actually quite good. They work quite well.
Yeah. I mean, just so everybody remembers, it's the 29th working B here from 12 o'clock, and we'll grab a bit of lunch and build some of these before we have the barbecue at night time.
Yep, so, no problems.
Barbecue, I'll be there.
Beautiful. Hey, you go there, you bugger.
Even for you, Ron,
we'll bring you one at Easter if we don't send you one in the post.
We'll send you one in the post, so you've got something to play with.
All righty. All righty. Look, I'll put my email address up there. If anybody wants to join the Wednesday night Zoom link, I'll put it up on the chat. We just need it because we vet people who are coming on, because we've had a few people at the workshops coming to the workshops that were trying to just disrupt the workshop. So we're actually vetting people. So when you send us the email address, yours, we send an invitation link out so you can log on, but just let us know who you know, and you can give the email. Like, anybody's welcome, but we've got to be privately invited. We can't just publicly advertise.
No.
Okay, so yeah. But listen, I'd suggest you keep the Friday nights going, Andy, so because it's always really good stuff that's being chatted about on this. And
yeah, that's good. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
I'll probably when we've finished this Zoom cycle, I'll probably start it at 7 rather than 6:30 because it seems to be dead for half an hour at the start. But that's all I'll say, and we'll go from there. But we'll get informed. But
Do you get
fortnight,
those?
mate.
Do you get that fiberglassing work done, Andy, or is that still there in the background?
No, I've sent a sink, a shower tray, a toilet tray, and a rear pod out today. They're all been packaged. I've got to do another shower tray and toilet tray and 2 hitch covers. And I've just chucked a van out, and I've got a sheep to cut up because it died. So it's dog meat. There's too much work. Far too much work.
You got to get Tanya off a button. Get her doing something.
Mate, she does plenty. She does all the background work, the bit that nobody sees and they think they do nothing. It's a bit like Francie's wife. Look, she's doing the paperwork in the background. Look, Frank, the wife doing the paperwork in the background. See, yeah, there you go.
Andy, we all know who gets the real work done there. Don't worry about that.
I know, mate. I know.
Exactly right.
All right, guys. I know it's enough for you guys, but it's enough for me. I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much for your participation, and let's change this world into equity, and let's make our weather beautiful.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
All right, this will be, I'll download this and just drop a link onto the Wimmera Law Guide Telegram group if anyone wants to rewatch it, or you're welcome to share the link. It can only be watched by someone that's got the link. So it's not public, it's just purely who you think is worth watching or worth watching what we do. All good, and thank you very much for attending. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, Frank.
Thanks for the invite.
Cheers,
everyone.
Cheers.
Good night, guys.
I'll say good night.
Good
Cheers,
night.
Chris. Thank you very much.
everybody.
Marty,
guys.
and
Catch you next time.
Paul, Steve,
Good night.
John. Good to see you, mate. Neil, thank you very much. Going to end it now. Goodbye.